What up, everybody? We are live and we are here. And do you guys see the good news? No tax on tips. We passed it, like in the Senate. No tax on tips. You guys excited for no tax on tips? That the government really did what they were supposed to do? Do you guys believe it? Just curious. Hey, did anybody catch that? Did we pass no tax on tips? That is where we're going to start today because it's not in the description. But you have all of the influencers all over the internet, all of the big accounts saying promises kept, promises kept. Promises were not kept because no tax on tips means we're not charging taxes on any tip or on your tips at all. It is only up to $25,000. No one's calling that out. No one. Everybody is celebrating already. That we got it. Promises kept. Is that the promises that we were told? Did we get that asterisk during the campaign saying that it is going to be only up to $25,000? Is that where this is starting? Like, come on, guys. This is just an inkling of what you're going to get out of the big, beautiful bill that no one really has yet. I found another one earlier today that is a little bit of a rough draft of it, but it's missing a whole bunch of detail in it. And so until it's actually on the floor, everybody needs to shut up about it because it's not anything that we need to even talk about because it's all an idea. When it comes down to this, your government is constantly on. Yes, Andy, I start on time. The government is constantly lying to us and telling you, we will pass no tax on tips. We will do no tax on Social Security. We will do no this. We won't do that. And then they only do a little bit of it to where they can say, well, just kidding. We're going to do no tax on tips up to $25,000. We can't make it to where no tax on tips for someone to make a living income. We have to no tax on the first $25,000. Yeah, exactly, Free. Congress is disappointing, just the tip. Yep, exactly. This is where you can't trust the government. I don't care if you voted for the person or if you support a certain party, they're going to throw you under the bus every time. When are we going to open our eyes and actually understand this and make sure that we're not going to have anybody in office that is going to change the rules on us mid-game? Because right now that's what's happening. They always do it. They're like, oh, no tax on tips. Oh, yeah, and then we'll pass a bill for just the first $25,000. I wasn't a few minutes late. Stop those shenanigans. Stop those shenanigans. But overall, guys, like, it's really pathetic. It's really pathetic that we have all of these big accounts going around and just search it. Actually, you know what? Let me search it first before I put it on the internet. Because if we were to actually be real about things and talk about these real scenarios, we have to make sure that we really understand these situations. No tax on tips. And then they flipped the switch on you and only said, oh, first $25,000. How many people probably make more than $25,000 in Vegas and tips a year? I would hope a lot, because they live off of a lot of them. And when it comes down to this entire thing that we're talking about with no tax on tips, why is it that these big accounts are going around and celebrating it, but not telling you the truth? And why are these big accounts always being propped up? They're not giving you the real information. They're celebrating headlines. Is that what we want in this country? Is that how we're going to take back our country? I don't think so. We need to start calling it out. And the no tax on tips is just the start. This big, beautiful bill is another thing. And so that's another part of the topic tonight, is this big, beautiful bill that everybody keeps talking about. That's not even low enough to lower them a tax bracket. Exactly. And think about it. In New York, where you have these big clubs and everything runs on tips, and they have all kinds of big money for these very lavish parties that get thrown. They still get taxed. They're still getting taxed, but they're celebrating the headline. And this is where the government fails us every single time. Is that they add this little caveat a little bit later. I saw the headlines and I saw the post going around X. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Senate just passed it unanimously. I can't speech. There's got to be something up with that. So I went and looked it up. I went and looked up Ted Cruz's bill back in January, S291, if I recall correctly. Let me just Google it just to make sure. S291. Get rid of this. A bill to. Of course, that has to be so long that I think it's 291. There shouldn't be any income tax anyways. I 100% agree with you, Andy. Like, these are the shenanigans. What is that bill number? Hang on. Where did it go? Oh, S129. That's what it is. My bad. S129 by Ted Cruz was supposedly passed through the Senate today. It's not marked on congress.gov, but it is in numerous media articles. And we are talking about only removing taxes on the first $25,000 of tips. I don't remember that being in any campaign speech. Now, to be fair, Donald Trump could be pushing this, but it's not really coming out. And well, everybody has to claim tips if it's coming through. When it comes through tips and you have to press a button on a machine saying 20% tip, that's electronically done. And so you're not going to be able to not claim that. The other thing that you run into, which Jules in the comments on one of my threads called out, a lot of restaurants pool together the tip money. And so when you leave tip at the table, it goes into a big pool and it distributes to whoever worked that night. It doesn't just go to your waiter. And so then that way it's all distributed out by the restaurant, usually in a form of a check, and then usually has taxes taken out. And so you can't do what you're talking about doing. All of this is exactly how the government and the system gets their way and gets their money. And so everybody needs to share this out. There's going to be a lot of truth in this one today. Like, these guys celebrating these wins when they're not wins. No taxes on tips is what people wanted, and we expected no tax on tips, but we're getting half of that. Not even half of that. We need to make sure that they're delivering on their promises entirely, not just giving you a little bit. They'll tease you with the carrot and then they'll give you the crumbs. That is not what us peons, Americans, deserve. We deserve more. And so everybody should be calling this out. Everybody should. But guess what? None of your big accounts are doing it. They're all celebrating the headline. Let's pull that up. I'm searching to make sure the search is safe first before we do that. Oh, Benny Johnson, who I usually like to listen to. First one on the list. Senate has passed President Trump's No Tax on Tips Act. 100-0 vote. Let's zoom in so Free can read this. Free, can you read it? I'm just checking with you, making sure you can read it here. So Benny Johnson celebrating, yeah. Nick Sorator, which is usually on. Unanimously passed. No tax on tips. GOP, no tax on tips. Libs of TikTok, no tax on tips. Kevin Smith, I don't know who that is. AJ Uber, no tax on tips. Where is anybody mentioning the $25,000 limit? Anybody want to talk about this? Because if that's what you're accepting, that's what the government's going to give you every time. Oh, here we go. Just passed. Wanted to give you both, you and your buddy, a $25,000 deduction this year. Jay, congratulations, Jay. I'm glad you're using your head. You're actually thinking about this. You're actually going through it. Senator Ted Cruz is celebrating his win. Good job, Ted Cruz. Guys, this is what the government's going to do with the big, beautiful bill. The same exact bullshit. Anybody that is celebrating the big, beautiful bill right now needs to shut up. Because right now you're getting the talking points of what they want in the bill, but you're not getting all the pork and the bloat that's going to be in the rest of it. We're still looking at over 1,000-page bill. You remember when we were making fun of 1,000-page bill when Donald Trump was running for president? And you had Vivek Ramaswamy, you had Donald Trump, you had Elon Musk, all of them gutting a bill that was trying to be passed through the government, through Congress. And I think it was this continuous resolution, and it was 1,500 pages. And they were all making fun of it. Oh, we shouldn't have it be 1,500 pages. Watch this big, beautiful bill end up being 1,500 pages or pretty close to it. These are the shenanigans that your Republican representatives are doing, but you voted them in. When it comes down to the government, guys, we can't give them an inch at all. And Gunther, come on, man. We got to actually read the bill. No tax on tips. Oh, yay. Now it's great. Now do property taxes. Guess what? We're going to go and do property taxes. And then we're going to say, oh, no, property taxes up to $1,000. And then after that, we'll have to start charging you a different fee. We'll change it to some other name. And they'll be like, oh, it's just a small fee. No, there needs to be no limits on these things. We can't be accepting this. We all need to be contacting our House reps and telling them this needs to be amended and needs to be set to where there is no limit on tax on tips, and send it back to the Senate. Well, they'll vote on it first, usually. So the House will vote on it, pass it, and send it back to the Senate so they can vote on it to be amended. So if anybody is really wants no tax on tips, that is how we need to get this done. I doubt it's going to happen. I don't think that anybody in Congress is even going to give a rat's ass. But we really need to put pressure on these people to make changes to this bill. Go ahead and tag every single one of your representatives in the comments. Tag them. And then let them know that they need to amend the bill and change it to where there is no $25,000 limit. I am fine if they put some sort of limit, but it needs to be a reasonable amount for someone to be living off of. So if we want to have a discussion about 50 grand, 75, 100, I want no limit, but I'm happy that there is to have a discussion around it. We can't be accepting these crumbs that the government keeps giving us. We have to be pushing back. And no one should be accepting what's going on right now. If you look at all of this, all of the stuff around the big, beautiful bill, where did the big media blitz come from this week? Why did that come out of nowhere? Why did all of a sudden you had the GOP all talking about the big, beautiful bill this week? You had all of your congressmen from the Republican side talking about this bill. All of them were pushing it on social media to get some big hype about it. And guess what? Your big accounts on X were doing it again. They were all doing it. Facts, Jim Bob. Taxation is theft. All of these big accounts, every single one of them, need to be called out for supporting stupid shit like the big, beautiful bill and no tax on tips. This no tax on tips, we should not be celebrating the way we are. And it's very disappointing that Americans are just accepting the headlines and not reading the details. We have to be doing better. When we get into the big, beautiful bill, I'm going to come back to that one because I've already harped on the no tax on tips enough. But the big, beautiful bill, we have no bill, right? Like, it's not even on a Senate floor to be debated or House floor to be debated. They're having conversations in closed rooms and on behind closed doors. No one really knows what is in there other than some of the talking points they want the media to have. How about no tax on wages? Facts. I'll take it, Jim. I'll take it all. Now that I think about it though, if someone lives with nothing but tips, let's say the cap is 100K, that's basically them having no income tax at all. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I said I'm okay with there being some limit. There, if we wanted to cap it at something, as long as it's a reasonable wage for someone to make, I'd be okay to start there. I want no tax, no income tax at all. But I also understand there needs to be some drastic measures to be able to make that happen. But we can't do $25,000. Do no tax, because $25,000, you could if you were to just make $25,000 off of tips, like Andy said at the beginning of the show, where you're not making a whole lot of money. And so what? You're not even getting into the tax bracket where you have to pay a whole lot of tax. There's a lot of loopholes in the tax system that you could utilize in that scenario that you could decrease a lot of your taxes. It's absolutely insane that we're celebrating this. Freedom Coach says the big account that misrepresents the truth need to be called out and unfollowed. Big facts. Big facts. And that is where we need to get out of this culture of reading headlines, because our government is screwing us over. Our government is giving us the crumbs, but dangling the carrot in front of your face. That's all they're doing. Jim Bob, I want no property tax. I would love to get rid of it too. Get rid of all taxes. Will it happen? I doubt it. Our government is too bloated to be able to do that. And we'd have to figure out how we shrink the government that much to be able to cut that much money out of the government. And what programs go with it? That's the other problem. Terry says, I'm innocent, Casey. I'm not celebrating. You're fine, Terry. This is not you. This is about I just showed you guys Gunther. Like Gunther, I've been interacting with quite a bit. Like, dude, we shouldn't be celebrating this. This is not a win. And there's multiple people in the comments trying to justify it's a win. And actually, let me show you one, because I already put them on blast on my page, because I don't want to deal with bullshit today. This special individual that came in my comments and called me a commie. And when I tell you guys, I get called all different kinds of names. I could get called a commie. I could get called a right-wing extremist, all in the same comment section. 25K on tips on top of your wage, tax-free. That's good. You'd be a middle class or better to have more. Would you? Would you? I don't think you get how this works. Because in a lot of places in the service industry, all you get is tips. You don't have a major wage that goes with it. You don't get minimum wage on top of tips. Here in Utah, you get like $1.25 an hour plus tips. So if you were to do that, you work 80 hours in a normal pay period, that's $80 plus tips. So when it comes down to this, like, this is the stupid garbage that people are believing. You got to be thinking about things, and you got to be actually holding your representatives accountable. And for those that just joined, like, the whole point that we can still correct this. We could still have the House of Representatives amend the bill, vote on it, pass it, and say no tax at all, and send it back to the Senate for the final vote. And then it goes to Trump's desk to be signed. So incentive to have kids or no? I must be missing another conversation in the comments there. 25K is nothing. 100%, Jim Bob. 100%. So every single one of us needs to be blowing up our House of Representatives and telling them to vote, change the bill and vote on it, and then send it back to the Senate. We don't want the no tax on tips with $25,000 limit. That's ridiculous. Andy, yeah, I get it. But now I think about it, you're at 47.5K without any income tax. What do you mean? How are you there without any income tax? Jim, I'm starting to 100% agree with you, because no one is stepping up and handling the things that they need to. And we're starting to see even the current administration struggle to deliver. And this is where we start falling apart, guys. This is where everybody's riding the gravy train from Trump getting elected. And the only thing we can do is sign executive orders. We can't do anything to get it codified, anything to actually support Americans. Everything's just temporary. All of it. 22.5 standard deduction plus 25K on no tax on tips. Hang on. Let me pull up that bill. Because I got the text of the bill. Let's go over it together. Holy white screens. Hang on. Let's see. Here's the bill. So, as we read it here, where is the $25,000? Here. Okay, right here. Maximum deduction, Andy. Maximum deduction. The deduction allowed by subsection A for any taxpayer for the taxable year shall not exceed $25,000. How I read that, and Andy, correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly. It sounds like the only thing they have done is increased your standard deduction from $22,500, if I remember correctly. They've increased that from $22,500 to $25,000. Congratulations. They gave you a $2,500 increase on your deduction. That's how I'm reading this. There shall be allowed as an deduction amount equal to the qualified tips received during the taxable year that are included in statements furnished to the employer to pursuant in section. You have to go look up this section. Yeah. What do you mean? So it's not a limit. No tax is not a deduction. Oh, so you're saying it's still, yeah. There shall not be. I think this is worse than what we were saying, guys. How is that? Reports by employees the calendar month which wages are defined in section shall report such tips in one or more written statements furnished to his employer before Okay. I'm pretty sure, guys. I am pretty sure this is coming back to where they just increased the deduction by $2,500. If you guys read this differently, tell me in the comments. Max standard deduction is $25K, but that is valid for anybody, no matter what the income is. No, I think it's $22,500, isn't it? Standard deduction. Let's Google this. Standard deduction. Let's go 2024. Are $29,200 for married filing jointly. Qualified spouse increased of $1,500 to $21,900 head of household. So yeah, it's not quite $25,000 for a single income, but married jointly, filing jointly is $29,200. I'm no tax lawyer, guys. They just gave you a very small increase of your standard deduction if you work in the service industry, is how I read this. This is nothing to freaking celebrate. You got a few $1,000s off your standard deduction, and for a standard deduction, that's all you got. This is how our government works, guys. Yeah, I'll send it to you right now. You want the bill, Andy? Here, I'll throw the bill in the comments. Comments for everybody. Oh, actually, I can't do it from within here. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Link is there. Oh. Let's see. There. My IRS. Check with them, Jim Bob. Check with them. And then that way we will see, because this doesn't look right. Even if it is, let's say the best case scenario. Let's go with best case scenario. It is in addition to the standard deductions, so 45,000 plus for a head of household. How would that be worded though? I want to confirm that with someone in taxes, because this doesn't make any sense. It says maximum deduction allowed by subsection A for any taxpayer for the taxable year shall not exceed $25,000. And subsection A says there shall not be allowed as an deduction amount equal to the qualified tips received during the taxable year that are included on the statements furnished to the employer pursuant of section 6053A. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm no tax lawyer. I really question it. I'm going to send it to my CPA also and be like, "Hey, so what does this mean? When it comes to this, is this going to mean that they only increase the standard deduction pretty much by a few $1,000s? The no tax on tips allows 100% of the above line deduction for up to $25,000. No tax on tips allows 100% of the above the line deduction for up to $25,000. I don't know about that one. Want to know what the above the line deduction means. Above the line deduction. Above the line deductions are those that are deducted from your gross income to calculate your adjusted gross income. Okay. I still read that as opposite of what you're saying, Terry. Because I'm just throwing it at Grok real quick, because the problem that I see with this is it is explicitly in this bill as a maximum deduction. So yes, Grok, of course, I don't take everything with what Grok says, but let's show you what Grok says. And then we'll go through this together real quick. Because I still have issues with Grok, but at least we can get some definitions here and make it a little bit more sense. I said above the line deductions are those that are deducted from your gross income, calculated adjusted gross income. Some of the most common above the line deductions that taxpayers take include retirement contributions, student loan interest, healthcare expenses, and business expenses. Does this include the $25,000? $25,000 deduction for qualified tips under the No Tax on Tips Act is above the line deduction. The bill amends the Internal Revenue Code that adds new section 224 that allows a deduction for qualified tips, which reduces gross income to calculate adjusted gross income, AGI. Yes, the $25,000 deduction will be qualified as tips under the No Tips Act, in addition to the standard deduction. So yeah, Grok is saying this. It's worded weird. It's worded like government does shit and legalese, but This is what Grok's saying. So, Terry, what you're describing is what Grok is implying. I read it differently. Let's hope nobody else reads it differently and they take it as this. So you can have your standard deduction and a $25,000 deduction for no tax on tips. Now, with that, so potentially we're talking about $47,000. That's a little bit better. That is a little bit better. I will take that more than $25,000. However, I still want to see no tax on tips entirely. Exactly what was promised. We shouldn't be accepting anything less. And when it comes down to it, these are the games the government plays with you. They tell you, and they run on a campaign of no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax, no this, no that. And then all of a sudden they do a small portion of it. They don't give you the whole thing. They give you a small portion of it. Current tariffs only cover $100 billion. The expected to collect 5.5 in income tax this year. Tariffs will never cover that. I agree with you. But we'll see how that plays out. Because so far, I've been wrong with the tariffs at this point. I didn't expect China to come to the table. And we have 90 days on if they're going to actually hold up to it. So we'll see. Jim Bob, why would anyone have to report, or limit amount of their tips if there is no tax on tips? Yeah, that's a valid question, Jim Bob. I 100% agree with you. This bill feels a little bit better, but I'm still not happy with it. We still need to be contacting our House of Representatives and telling them, no tax on tips means zero taxes on tips. We don't need to have this limit. If we wanted to set a higher limit to where it fits more income that people can live on to make a wage off of, then okay. Then let's talk. Let's get to 75,000 or above and set a limit there. Because ultimately we should be getting out of all of the income tax, but it shouldn't be negotiated at the bottom of the barrel at $25,000. We should be negotiating from the higher end. No wonder why all of Congress just unanimously passed this. Because they knew everybody would celebrate it. Jim Bob, I can do this very easily. Tips are not taxable, not required to be reported. Yeah. When it comes to the tips and you want to fight the IRS with that, so be it. Go ahead. I won't encourage you to do it. I've had multiple family members do that and even commit suicide because of how much stress it created in their life. So I will not encourage people to take on the IRS because it is a complete disaster. But we got to push back in these bills and get these bills to be what we wanted. This show needs like 4 more flags to be really patriotic. Not quite. Ed, look, when I bartended in the 80s, there were a few nights a week I walked out with 1,500 plus a night. Yeah, that's awesome, Ed. That would be great. But you don't walk out with your tips like that every night anymore. Everybody tips with a card. And so you don't end up getting cash to walk out of the building with. That's a whole different animal. And beers were 50 cents. I'll drink to that. But yeah, this is disappointing. We need to be pushing back on everybody in the House, telling them we want real no tax on tips. We don't want these crumbs. We want an actual bill that is no tax on tips. That's my suggestion. That's what I'll be doing. Whether you guys support it or not, and we'll do it. That's your choice. Because if you find this bill to be adequate, then you support it. My accountant said it takes months after Congress passes the bill before IRS refines the policies. Well, then, all right. Well, we'll see. Yeah, Ed, do we even have cash-only bars anymore? I don't know if we have those anymore. I'm pretty sure those bars would be going out of business. A lot of people don't carry around cash anymore, unfortunately. We could call the bill just the tip. I am down with that, Scientific. I am so down. Let's go. Let's name it just the tip and move forward with that. All right. I beat this dead horse enough. We're going to move on. We've been going on for 37 minutes on just no tax on tips and the big, beautiful bill. But let's touch up on um, when it comes to the whole tip. Yeah, OB. I don't either. I'm going to carry a little bit when I go and travel across the country, but I rarely have enough cash to make it worth it. I don't have enough cash that I'm going to be leaving a big tip at the table. Sometimes I do. I've done it before. Left a big tip and then wrote on the receipt, taxation is theft. I've done that, but I don't carry around cash like that anymore. I just don't. But let's move on to the big beautiful bill. What everybody is talking about with this, the part that frustrates me about the big beautiful bill, we're taking the talking points that the government wants us to talk about, and we're celebrating those talking points. You're not even looking at, it's the same issue as the no tax on tips. No one read the fine print. No one read the bill. Now, we need the actual bill, and we won't really know it until it's being debated on, because it's going to be changed every day right now. So there is a bill out there floating around. Where did I find it? On a website. It was crap. I can't remember the number that they gave it. But the bill, when it comes to what's going on, people are talking about there's no Social Security in it. There's no they didn't actually deliver on the no tax on Social Security and stuff like that. We don't know yet. I believe that they're going to end up pulling some of that stuff out, and they won't end up passing that true bill. But this is how the misinformation gets out there, and this is how American citizens start sticking their head into the sand because they read a headline saying that this is all great and this is going to be fantastic, and look at all of these things. And then when we get to passing the bill is 1,500 pages, and we funded 5 NFL stadiums. We gave Congress a raise, and we shipped $2 billion off to Ukraine again. That is exactly how we end up in these situations every freaking time. We end up celebrating, we end up doing all of this when we don't really have the actual details to really vocalize what we support and what we don't. This is coming back to the big accounts, and there's multiple going around X. Just go on X and search Big Beautiful Bill, and you have people doing videos talking about them, and it's really weird. It seems like there is a media campaign going around and supporting this big beautiful bill, like they're being paid to talk about it. How can you go and celebrate something like this early when the government has constantly screwed you for over the last 100 years? How can we celebrate that right now? This big beautiful bill is not anything to be celebrating at the moment by what I'm reading. And they're talking about it increasing our deficit, not actually decreasing the deficit, which we all wanted to decrease the deficit when we were voting. And now we're okay with spending money again? I'm not. It's not what I voted for. I voted to decrease the debt. I voted to get our budgets balanced. It's not going to happen in one term, but I want us to move in that direction. I don't want us to be spending a crap ton of money and sending it overseas and bloating up this whole bill when the no tax on tips bill, 6 pages. So how many, why do we need to have right now, the proposed bill that I came across, the big beautiful bill, is 1,116 pages. It's unnecessary. Unnecessary. But we need to make sure that we get the bill and then actually talk about the details, which as soon as we actually have something concrete to talk about, we will do it. I'll break it all down. We'll go through it as much as we can. We're not going to go through thousands of pages together, but I'll read through it and I'll give you guys some of the highlights. This administration looked very promising, that we were doing a lot of good things initially. We have done not very much over the last few weeks because everything's going in this big beautiful bill. I don't understand how we have already had amnesia like we're Joe Biden. or dementia. Like, we can't be forgetting on what we voted for. And this bill is not going to be what you voted for. I promise you that. Promise you that. Bookmark this, tag me in it, and when we have the bill in the next few days or week and we actually dissect it, you can call me out if I'm lying. But the no tax on tips bill that just passed today is doing exactly what I'm telling you is going to happen with the big, beautiful bill. Mike Decentralized says, we need page limits on bills like we need term limits on politicians. 100%. 100%. Page limits, I don't know about, like, it needs to be a pretty crazy page limit, but I would like it to be one topic bills. Like, you're not going to have 75 million different topics outlining in this bill and making it 1,500 pages. Let's go ahead and make it a single topic, no tax on tips, and outline everything needed. 6 pages, done deal. I'm good with a bill like that. Those are the type of bills we should be passing, in my opinion. We don't need a big, beautiful bill. Single item bills only. Facts, Ed. Facts. Because the breakdown and undo the corruption in our system, especially when you start talking about the Fed, the IRS, and even guns, if you were to start breaking back all of the laws that we actually put in place over the years, you're going to have to amend a lot of the stuff. And I don't want to limit that to 10 pages or something. I need to limit it to one item so we can really crack down and knock it all out. That's why, Mike, I agree with you. There needs to be some sort of limit, but we got to be careful on how we set that limit. A page number, I think, puts us at risk there. But single item bills, absolutely, I'm all for it. All for it. They should have to write the bill on the line next to tip. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. And we're going to just have a lot of bills that just say no. It's going to be awesome. I'm down with that. But tell me in the comments, all of you in the comments that are watching, how many of you have seen people celebrating this big, beautiful bill and this stuff on X over this week? Does it seem like it's all put together and planned, or there's some strategy with it? Like there's some marketing team behind it? It does to me. Do you guys see that? Because that makes me super suspicious, just like the whole situation with Influenceable pushing a bunch of their stuff. It's no different. It's like they're reading from a script. They're like, we'll give you $1,000 to make a post to talk about these things. The government is paying these people. They gotta be. I don't have any proof that they're receiving payments, but they're all celebrating the stupid shit, saying, look at how great this bill is. Look how beautiful this is. And this is so great. This is what we voted for. You only have talking points. You don't even have a bill. It's a planned distraction. I don't disagree with that. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a distraction. I think that word gets used too much. But it is to dangle the carrot in front of everybody's face. And then we're only going to give you the crumbs in the bill. That's what's going to happen. Brother, I spent 18 years in marketing world. Everything is coordinated marketing. I don't disagree with you. I agree. But our government shouldn't be doing it to push their propaganda on us citizens. We need to open our eyes to it and call it out. That's the problem. We have accepted that our government constantly lies to us and we do nothing about it. We have come to where we just accept that they lie to us and it's fine. We can't be doing this anymore. This is awful. $1,000, Casey. All they gotta say is Trump will talk to you and just say hi for you to push this bill. I'm sure some people will jump at that. I'm sure. Terry says it's actually downright lies they are posting right now unless it specifies it's based on current markup bill form. I agree, Terry. I agree. It's really sad that we are celebrating these things like they are wins, just like when we were celebrating the executive orders Now, I like some of the executive orders, actually most of them that were signed, which is rare for me to say. But it's because Trump couldn't get anything done in Congress. Nothing. And when we have the situation that we can't get anything done in Congress and Trump's actually doing stuff that's right for the American people via EO, I'll swallow my pride. But it's only temporary. We're only looking at this even actually working for one presidency. Not many, just one. Breaking news, Epstein killed himself. Yeah, that's exactly how big accounts work, Jim Bob. You're getting it down, man. Pretty soon you're going to have sponsorships from the GOP here real soon. They're going to be paying you to make posts on X. Everyone has a price except my ex-wife. Hers keeps going up. Well, she took all your stuff. We already did that. We nuked everything in a game show. You remember that? Mike Decentralized says, coordinated for the benefit of the mutual controlled opposition theater. Facts. Big facts. This is where Congress and our representatives are supposed to be supporting and representing us. I'm also very disappointed in Mike Lee, I know you follow me and all, but you definitely made the wrong turn here in Utah in supporting the wrong people. And you also went and used the stupid ass bill that allows signatures so you can end up on the ballot for re-election. You are using the system that our current governor used to cheat, and it is documented in court that it is likely that he did not receive enough signatures to end up on the ballot. So Mike Lee, I'm no longer in your corner, man. That's not okay. Not okay at all. And for those of you that don't know, Utah is in a state of disarray from a political standpoint. Sally and I talked about it a little bit on a space the other day. And Utah is really bad at the moment. We have corruption everywhere, and they are not wanting to represent anybody in our state, and they are doing what serves them. They, as in politicians. And if my state has fallen, that's really bad, because I doubt any other state in the union is doing a whole lot better. Because I used to think we were doing pretty well until the last few years, and now we're not. We have really fallen to major corruption in our state. Clinton did it, absolutely. OB is sick of the government. I am always sick of the government, OB. OB, always. We are sick of the government. Like decentralized. Who lies more, politicians or pundits? Politicians. Politicians. I don't know. I would say that could even be sixes, but politicians, it's because they're in the crosshairs right now. So I'm going to say politicians. Let's see. Kate says politicians. OB says politicians. Mike says decentralized Utah. 100%. Let's go. I'll go even further. All right, let's declare our own independence. Let's just get out. Let's leave it all and let the rest of the union figure it out. And we'll go live free in our mountains and hunt and not have to worry about licensing and live on our own. We have enough land. And when the federal government can't take all of the uranium and everything by declaring national parks in the state of Utah, then we have more land to live on and live off of and hunt. So I'm all for getting rid of the union because we will get more of our land back. When I went to SLCC, they were pushing division between politics and class. SLCC, you mean Salt Lake Community College? You saying that, Eric? Really? I'm curious if that's what you're referring to. All right. What were the other topics? Let's jump into actually something a politician actually did good, and this would surprise you because doesn't happen all the time, but we at least have a politician that was actually doing it. That's cool, Eric. I'm going to text you. We got to talk about that. I know why. Never mind. I already know why. I'm just dumb. Never mind. Marco Rubio. I said in the show description, Marco Rubio is the most improved. He gets the most improved politician award because he actually did some pretty awesome things at fighting back against the Senate this week. Matter of fact, I think this was even today. Time to secede. Facts, Tom. But I think seceding is a problem if we look at how all of the states join the union. I believe, and anybody in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong, the only one that has a clause that they can secede from the union is Texas. Texas is the only state, I believe, that has a clause that they can secede from the union. All of the others had to join, and they don't have a clause in there that they can secede. So I believe our stipulation is we would have to declare our independence and just leave. It's a tall order, though. I don't see that happening. It's a tall order. But let's get back into this. Marco Rubio straight up was calling out the Senate today, and it was fantastic. I have to say I was always chewing out Marco Rubio in comments on his page on X. I was never in his corner. But since he has taken on this role in the administration, he's done a fine job. I don't have a whole lot to say that he is not doing his job like Pam Bondi. It's actually quite impressive. Let's go over this. We got 4 minutes. We're going to pause it in between here. But give me a thumbs up in the comments if you can hear it, so I can make sure you guys can hear this right. Get him. So it must have turned on. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Let me back this up. I fixed this. Dang it. So I can't mute. That's okay. You guys can hear it now? No sound? No sound? Turn it up. Turn it up. It's up as high as it goes, which this played louder earlier. Hang on. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Freaking hell. Why won't that? Hang on. Let's see if we can find this in YouTube. No sound at all. Mute website. Why can't we play this? Hang on. This is getting stupid. Do better, Casey. We expect more. Yeah, facts. I know you do. I know you do. Let me hang on. Why in the world? I tested this last night and make sure this was working, and it was playing. I can hear it. So Rose, you could hear it. All of these shenanigans. Let's see, hang on. Always. That's fine. That's fine. It was probably quiet, right? Loud and clear in California. Okay, so some people could hear it. So what it was is it was when I muted, you guys couldn't hear it. And so I can't turn it up any higher because that's all it's set. I got my mixer up all the way. Let me see if I can change the setting here. Yeah, of course you can't read free. We all know that. That's not a surprise. Okay. Now, tell me if you guys can hear this. Give me a thumbs up in the comments. I have another video. Can you hear? Loud and clear in Cali. Andy can't hear it. Okay, we have some people in the comments saying they can't hear it. Some people can. You can't hear it? Okay, good. There we go. Oh, is it very quiet? Okay, that is different. Give me a second. Let me just find another source. This will probably be better. Oh, stupid ads. Go away. I don't want to deal with you. Don't want to deal with you. Still hearing Joe Biden. Elks. It's weird. Some saying, yeah. What it is it's the volume. Some probably have headphones and they can hear it better than others. Okay, this might be better. Let's try this one. Watch Rubio. Callie can't hear. Yeah, Callie can't hear. We know that. Let me skip forward. It was right at the end of when this guy started talking. Okay, now we're going to start this again.
Political ideology and race more than truth or need matter. And while you turned away from a genocide in Sudan and invented one in South Africa, you teamed up with President Trump to throw the Ukrainian people under the bus and have been played like a fiddle by Vladimir Putin. Of course, Donald Trump not only said he would end the war in Ukraine on day one, he also said he would end the war in Gaza on day one. And yet last week, you were all running around to Gulf states, giving away very sensitive American AI and chips technology, but doing nothing to end the war in Gaza and get the remaining hostages returned. You know that for 78 days, the Netanyahu government did not allow a scrap of food to enter Gaza to reach over 2 million civilians.
Wow.
57 children have died from malnutrition so far, and more than 14,000 children are in imminent danger of dying of starvation. As Cindy McCain said last week, and I quote, families in Gaza are starving while the food they need is sitting at the border.
No free.
That is a gross violation of both U.S. and international law. What did you do? Nothing. Not once did you publicly.
We're going to fast forward.
I yield back.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job based on what I know.
Well, that's just a flippant statement, Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may. I can ask Senator, please let the Secretary. I'd be happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well,
your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr. Chairman.
Secretary, please.
Well, I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation. I don't regret psychosocial support services.
I raised your hand, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond?
Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes.
I chose to use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
Please suspend, Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one that you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear in the days to come.
Mr. Chairman,
Please, Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated
Senator,
comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor. You had
Secretary
your
Rubio
time.
should take that testimony to federal court in the
Senator,
United States because
well,
he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch.
No shit.
Judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner, what I need to say to them. And if I do reach that foreign partner and talk to them, I have under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and we've told them, we've had communications with the president of El Salvador, I am under no obligation, under our division of powers in this country, and to share with the judicial branch how I conduct the diplomacy of the United States. It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing with courts, or frankly, with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again, and we would break trust with them. So I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose
You're right, Andy.
what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way. About the student visas, let me say this. I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers
Tell me if the audio is getting any better, guys.
in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas, and it's very simple. A visa is not a right; it is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries, and try to burn down buildings, and acts of violence, we're not going to.
Is that what Ms. Ostorp did?
We're not going to give you
Is
a
that what
visa.
you
And if
did?
you do
Come
that,
on, Mr. Secretary.
and every single
You're
one of
just
these
blowing
cases, the
smoke
factors
here.
are different.
Senator,
The bottom line is, if you're
Senator,
coming here to
we-
stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you
Does
have
the
a
First
visa,
Amendment
we
apply
find you,
to
we will
people
revoke
living
it.
in the United
And
States?
we're going to do more. There are more coming. We're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher education facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through a
Writing an
bunch of
op-ed
lunatics
to the
who are
top
here on
papers
student visas.
disrupting the foreign policy of the United
I want to
States.
do more. I hope we can
That's
find more of these.
pathetic,
In
Mr.
fact, the other day, some guys let it riot. I forgot what university it was, and I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke.
I feel so much safer
All right,
when you lock
let's,
up people like Ms. Oster, Ms. Secretary.
Then-
This is where Marco Rubio is actually doing good work. And I will applaud that. I will applaud what he is doing. I will say that I was not a fan of him when he was a senator. I believe he was a senator, right? Senator? I think so. When it comes down to what Marco Rubio is doing now, this is good work. This is what I want to see when these people are coming into office. I want to see them fighting against Congress and making sure that we're making the right decision. I want to see that we're actually electing people that care about this country. And Marco Rubio, like Terry just said, he sure didn't have any OB. No, he didn't. When he was a senator, I think his senator, he was a clown. He didn't do anything. He just caved to the establishment. He wanted to fit in. So he did everything by status quo. And now he's actually standing up and doing something. I don't know what changed, but we need everybody in Congress to do that. Every single person in Congress needs to have this change and this flip, because we need to start having people like this that want to fight for Americans. I want to have my representatives willing to throw fists with others to make sure that we're doing the right thing. I'm not saying promoting it or anything like that, but willing to, because we need representatives that will actually support us. And we don't have that. No tax on tips is proving it. Now, the next one, big, beautiful bill, probably going to prove it. And we're looking at Congress is becoming super useless, and we need to figure out how in the hell we can get term limits in place, like Mike mentioned earlier. And the only way we can do that is starting locally and start having our states fight back against the federal government. OB is Ocean Blue. That's who she's referring to, Kat. But Marco Rubio, like, I have not usually been in your corner, but since you have been, since you've taken your position, I applaud you, sir. I don't see that you're the coward you used to be in Congress. I don't know what changed, but I applaud you for improving and start fighting for Americans the way that we want you to do. And so this type of stuff, I need to see more of it. I want to see more of this, to where then that way we can actually get back to where we the people run this country. It's not ran by a bunch of corrupt politicians that are serving their special interests. And speaking of politicians that serve their special interests, do you guys remember when Joe Biden said he will cure cancer? Let me see if I can find that video real quick. As you guys saw in the news, probably over the weekend, and Free remembers when Joe Biden said, when he said, I would cure cancer. Let me see if I can find that video. Let's see. Seeing if I can find it real quick. Counterpoint, he still sucks. I agree, Free. I understand why you're saying that, but you have to applaud when they actually do something that's good for us. He technically said we cured cancer. Yeah, he probably did just say we cured cancer. Trying to remember, what was it? Oh, was it?
The vaccine that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer.
Oh yeah, that's funny. He said The vaccine beat COVID, and it's now being used to beat cancer. What? What? Like, that's what he said. I do remember Casey, but he didn't cure his. No. And so Joe Biden, the news over the weekend came out that Joe Biden had cancer. And as the internet does the internet things, we know, no, he had cancer for a lot longer. State of the Union. Yeah. Facts free. When we're talking about Joe Biden was sick for a long time. That is how you end up with his disease. Like, how bad was it? I didn't take notes on this, so I'm winging it here. Joe Biden, cancer diagnosis. Let me look and see what, because they said it's really bad, and so the only way that it could be this bad is he's had it and it's never really went addressed at all. Former President Joe Biden's office announced Sunday that he has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer, which has spread to his bones. There has been multiple doctors that have come out and said the only way that it spreads this far is if it doesn't really get addressed. It's already been too long. So what kind of screenings are we doing on presidents in office if we can't detect cancer in them when it's this bad? Are we doing anything? Biden is cancer. I agree with you. But the whole part of us talking about this is I believe they were lying to us for the whole year, for over a year or more on on this exact topic. Now we know that everybody was lying about his health and his mental capacity and all of that. We already know all of that was gone. We knew that was all a facade. But now it makes you question everything else, which is where you see Anna Paulina Luna talking about the auto pen again. Auto pens have been used for everyone, for everywhere. Nothing makes the auto pen illegal. The auto pen can be used. I don't know why we're talking about an auto pen all over again, because Joe Biden's still alive today. It's not like he died and we played Weekend at Bernie's and there was really no president there. And like, he really wasn't there, but there was still him. PSA test screening is routine. I just had it done today for me. Yeah. That's what I thought, Jim Bob. Like, when it comes down to this whole thing, that's true, Terry. That's another good point. Thank you for calling that out. I didn't mention that. They didn't mention it until all of a sudden her audio tape. As soon as that audio tape comes out, yeah, Joe Biden has cancer. Stop talking about the audio tape. Why? It's no different than, oh, hey, look, Pete Hegseth used Signal again, and some information went out to somebody that it wasn't supposed to. Release the Trump 2028 merch. The government keeps playing these same games no matter the side, guys. Same game, no matter the side. Just the people that want to participate in one side wants to close their eyes to it. They play the same game no matter what. Just unfortunately, the Republicans happen to be a little bit more on our side than the Democrats, but it's still the same game. They're still not giving us the same thing. They give you no tax on tips for the first $25,000. They campaign on no tax on tips, but then when they pass the bill, it's only the first $25,000. Welcome to the government. This is how the government works. It's how they've always worked for many years. And the fall of America began in 1912. I'll leave that for you guys to figure out the three things that passed in 1912 that caused the decline of America. And that is my opinion on it. That is where I believe it all started. But those are the main topics I had for you guys today. I wanted to talk about Joe Biden and the lies that we kept being told, and now they're starting to admit some of the truth. The lies that we're currently being told, like no tax on tips. Marco Rubio actually fighting against senators and calling out the BS like he should. Applaud you, sir. Glad you're finally coming around. No tax on tips. We just give you the shaft. Facts, Jim Bob. And now we have no tax on tips and the big beautiful bill we're going to be waiting on to see how this goes. I I encourage every single one of you, if you are not happy with the limit on the no tax on tips, we need to be contacting our House of Representatives and telling them they need to modify that bill, vote on it, and send it back to the Senate. Because we really need to pass no tax on tips. Everybody needs to be up in arms and not accepting just the $25,000 limit. We need to be pushing harder to make sure that we get what we want, and that is no tax on tips. And that's how I'm going to end the show, guys. We really need to close that out. And in Andy's words, end women's suffrage is what you are saying. Okay. No. I am not necessarily saying that, but sure. Sure, Andy. Sure. All I'm saying is our government constantly lies to us. They are never in your corner. Even if you did vote for them, they are always going to find a way to screw you over one way or another. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. And we will see you. Oh, actually, hang on. Game show is on a special night. So I got to make sure everybody knows. Game show's special night this week. It's on Thursday. It's going to be a great show. You have a bunch of big people on there. I'm looking forward to Thursday. And come and join me on Thursday in the comments and make a absolute mess of everything. And let's make Terry have to do some math on some points. Let's really push through that. Kat says Titanic, Radio Act, progressive election. Those are 3 good things, but not the 3 that I'm referring to. There's 3 other ones. But on that note, guys,